Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the It BRFC podcast with me, your host, Adam Hunter. This week we'll be discussing the end of the season, the potential league restructuring and general Berwick news from this past week. I hope you enjoy. I'm joined today again by ex-Berwick forward and current assistant manager Kevin Haynes. How's your week been, Kev?
Pretty much the same as last week. Stuck in the house, walking, dealing with kids, usual. It's going to get worse actually next week because I'll be homeschooling next week. It's been Easter holidays last week, so this week will be worse homeschooling.
How's that going to work? Have you got like online courses that the kids are needing to do?
The teachers upload stuff every day for their subjects, and they have to make a conscious effort to doing that, but you get roped in. I end up doing it half the time.
Were you any good in school?
Aye, I was alright. Aye. I was quite interested in some parts of it, so I was alright.
I'm not
surprised.
I'm not acting as though I'm surprised by it. I'm sorry. Did you have a chance to listen back to the podcast from last week?
I did, aye. I thought they were quite good. I think the folk that I've spoke to, that I've listened to them, it was quite positive as well. The feedback that I got from it. So I think you've done well with your editing and getting it spot on and made us sound like we knew what we were doing.
That was very different to the real podcast that were recorded. One thing that they particularly enjoyed, the people that I spoke to, was me trying to explain Twitch to you.
All right.
Have you been watching any football managing streams on Twitch?
I've still not got a clue what we're talking about.
I was going to bring the Warbot up in the interview with David Greenhill, because obviously he beat you in the final, but again, I thought I would be explaining that here.
I still don't know what I've not got Facebook. Is that a Facebook game or something like that, isn't it?
No, Twitter.
Oh, is it? Right, okay.
So I've got two guests again today. They're both popular figures from the Ducket. First up, we've got author and real ale connoisseur Stu Bell. Hello, Stu. How are you doing?
Hello, Adam. And don't talk to me about Twitch, because I'm with Kev on that one.
I don't know. It's something that I'd never heard it till last week. Never mind, I had the opportunity to understand it.
Me neither. I'm 65.
Well, what's my excuse? I'm only 38.
So, Stu, where do you travel from?
I travel from Redcar. Always from Teesside. Before I got married, Thornaby, but it's only down the road from here. So 200 mile round trip on the train.
How long have you been in Berwick?
1979 I started. Not the promotion year, actually. It was the year after. So yeah, what's that, 41 years this year. I did calculate once how far I'd travelled once, and I'd be on the way back from the moon now, to be honest.
Wow. Is that real?
Yeah. Yeah, if you count all your away games as well. Yeah. Over 250,000 miles.
And you get to most games now, don't you? Most home games anyway.
I get to all the Saturday home games unless I'm on holiday or something. Night matches are a bit more difficult because I can't get home on the train. And kind of fewer away games as well, oddly enough, because it's just the train service is worse than it used to be. You understand? So, but yeah, every Saturday home game I'll be there.
What does a Saturday look like? Normal Saturday for you if we're playing at home?
Right, train. As I said, I should add that I used to work for the railway, so I get it for now.
Oh,
so
do you?
Not that daft.
I need a job on the railway.
Yeah, I don't have to pay. So train up to Berwick, meet a few people on the train, yourself included sometimes. Eric Tate, when he was doing his stats. In the early days when I first started, I'd probably go out for a walk somewhere down a pier or up the valley to some country pub and get a bus back. Now I just tend to fall straight into the curfew. And there's quite a nice gang in there, actually, good gang of Berwick fans in there, getting slowly squiffy before we go over to the game. It's good fun.
Curfew owned by our very own David Cook.
David Cook, yeah, and Gemma, yeah. Fantastic place. Have you been in there, Kev?
What one is that?
Curfew? Micro pub?
Nah. I stayed down a few weeks ago. Ended up in the Brown Bear.
Alright. Yeah.
After a game, we were in there, and is there a wee? There's a wee place. Is it next to Asda that does the live music or something?
Yeah, the music room, is it? Yeah.
The music room.
Yeah.
So we
Never
went
been in.
in there and then down to the Brown Bear for there, but that's as far as my ventures have been.
Fair enough.
And our second guest also likes a pint. He celebrates a goal in the same manner in which he celebrates a Brooklyn. Hello to John Dryden.
Hi, how you doing? All right?
Very good, mate. How long
Thanks
is it that
for
you've been
having me,
following? No worries, man. No worries. How long is it that you've been following Berwick?
I would say since about 6 or 7 year old. Ball boyed from there, right the way through to about 14, 15-year-old, and then followed them ever since that.
You're a little bit more local than what Stu is.
I just live round the corner in East Ord, so no far from the ground at all.
You sent us a message earlier in the week about your first away game.
Aye. That was 2003, 4th of October, I think it was, away to Morton. Back then, I'm sure I can remember we were underdogs that day, and everyone on the bus when we were heading up there was just like, we're going to get battered. Ended up winning 3-1. Gordon Connolly scored. He was one of my favourites back then, like. So that kind of, I got a buzz off of going to away games after that, like, so I enjoyed going on the buses every Saturday.
Was there a lot of buses that used to go to the away games?
Back then, Kev, there was quite a big following from the boys, like, and like, I'm on about like older lads, it was like 18, 19 into their 20s. We was just the young ones, like back then, like 14, 15, jumping on the bus. But there was a good mix of boys and that, like, used to go on the buses away, like following away. It's kind of dwindled out now, like, but there's still a few of the diehards that try and go every now and again, like.
You obviously, all the away games, and obviously I've spoke to you a couple of times at the games or whatever, but you seem to try and make a good atmosphere still, eh?
Try and get behind the boys, like, give them a bit of a lift, let them know that we're there for them, like, kind of thing, you know. It might help, it might not, but
I'm sure it does. I'm sure the boys appreciate it.
Stu, how is it that you got into following Berwick?
Right. 2 reasons, really. First, Christmas Eve 1979, there was a gang of us used to go to places like anywhere, really, for a few beers and watch a football game. Places like Rochdale and Halifax and anywhere for a day out. One day, Christmas Eve, because they play on Boxing Day in England, there was no English fixtures, but Berwick were at home. So we went up there, had a great day. Pub crawl through the town, good match, Davy Smith's either, some good players. And I enjoyed it. And a few weeks later, I went back on my own. And the second reason I started to get hooked was one Eddie Collins. Now, do any of you know who Eddie Collins is?
No.
Eddie Collins was the landlord of the Free Trade up Castlegate. And he was an incredible character. And I went in there on my own the second time, and he remembered me, and kind of just didn't used to happen in pubs in Teesside. He remembered me, spoke to me, and it was just a warm welcome, and he got me hooked, really. So good for Eddie. The late Eddie Collins, I should add. His wife still runs the pub though. It's a fantastic old-fashioned place. So Christmas Eve and Eddie Collins. Eddie was quite a character. He hated customers, basically. He didn't like anybody going in there. And he had a thing with a white horse up the road. If there was a gang of away fans coming down the road, the landlord of the white horse would ring him up and tell Eddie so he could rush around and lock the door so they couldn't come in. If you got more than 3 people in the pub, he couldn't cope. Fantastic. I don't think he ever won Northumberland Businessman of the Year or anything. But cracking bloke. And of course, it's just a lovely town as well. I suppose if we'd gone to Cowdenbeath or Coatbridge or something that day, I wouldn't have been going back there for 30 years.
What's wrong with Cowdenbeath?
It's nothing. It's lovely. Garden City.
On the subject of the free trade, I've been in there a few times singing on the karaoke. And John, you've got an affiliation with the free trade, haven't you?
I have. Stanks Charity Cup. Me and Ronan's got a team that's from the free trade. We're called the Free Trade Ultra. Won it last year, so aye.
So Brenda will still be in there.
Yeah, Brenda still has it. And,
Eddie was her husband, yeah.
And Tracy and Dave run it. But we've got a good affiliation with the free trade, like.
Yeah, good
luck loser on the Saturday night.
Haynes, you played in the Stanks one year, didn't you? Can you remember?
Slightly. I remember the location. Beside the big wall, castle wall, or something like that.
The one, yeah.
I think it was one of our pals, Gary Wales, that got you involved. I think it was when he was at Pans.
Aye, Preston. Aye, that's right.
Aye, I think he got you come in.
Aye. Only played the one game, I think.
But I think he scored about 5 that day.
What's that?
I think he scored about 5 or 6.
I heard what you said. I just wanted you to say it again.
I suppose the third reason I came back as well is that, and it's just the honesty of the football up there. Because I used to be a Sunderland fan as a kid, and I kind of fell out with it. Paying good money to watch Barry Venison pouncing around Roker Park, and trying not to get his hair dirty. And it's kind of different when you're at Berwick. They're just more. It's just a more honest game for me.
Probably just the levels of the actual players, isn't it? They're not so precious at this level as the top level.
Yeah, the quality is obviously low, but it's lower in defence and in attack, so you still get the same excitement. You still got a guy going down the wing and beating his man and crossing it, and to me, it's just as enjoyable at this level as it was watching Sunderland.
I don't think I've heard anybody saying watching Sunderland's enjoyable.
No, all my mates are Middlesbrough fans, so they're even worse off.
I'm only saying that my dad's a Sunderland fan, so he's a Hibs fan, but for some reason he went to a Hibs Newcastle game or something like that, and the game was off, and he ended up going over and watching Sunderland, and he's followed them since. So we've been doing a couple of times and taking in games, but I think every time I go it's 0-0.
Yeah.
Stu, you you do a bit of voluntary work with the trust. You do a bit of writing for the magazine.
I just write for the mag, yeah. I've been writing for years. I don't know whether you remember the Absolute Game, the fanzine, Scottish fanzine, years ago, before technology, basically, before Zoom. And I wrote for the Berwick fanzine as well, Go After the Harrow. Yeah, and then they asked me to write for the Trust magazine, so I've done a few little things for that.
You wrote an article recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I tried to be funny.
It was funny. I enjoyed it. What was the article about?
No, it was just what had happened. But when I wrote that, it was just as the new directors had taken over, and good for them. I'm right behind them.
But so it was more like an overview of what's going on with the club, what's happened with the club over the last sort of 6 to 12 months.
It was then. I think that they entitled it was "Nothing Ever Happens at This Club," and of course everything had been happening at this club for a few months. Relegation and then a new board of directors. It was just pretty chaotic. So it was just really about that. And from a fan's perspective.
Your old club that you were following was Sunderland, who had that Netflix documentary. What do you think would happen if they did a Netflix documentary about Berwick?
Good grief. Oh, God. What am I supposed to answer that? God knows. They'd start with Rangers, wouldn't they? They always do. Get you tiresome after a while, but hey, it's what we're famous for. But I think the boardroom shenanigans for years and years, back to George Deans and Malcolm MacDonald and people like that, it's always been chaotic, really.
And John, you work with the Supporters Club.
I'm part of the committee on the Supporters Club. Was just got invited to go along one night. Moffat, Brian, Matty, me and Mark ourselves got invited along and said we'd go along, see if we could help out in any shape or form. Ended up joining the committee and been on it since. Yeah, anything to help the club really, like just try and help them going forward, you know.
Do you hold an office bearer's position, or are you
just just part of the committee. There's about, I think there's 13 or 14 on the committee at the minute. I might be wrong, it might be slightly less, because I think Conrad Turner's just recently stepped down. So I'd just like to thank him for all his work to the Supporters Club over the years and service to the club. But there's about 11 or 12 work at the minute. Try and find ways of helping the club raise money, stuff like that. Obviously helping out on match days, selling 50-50 tickets. Just anything to help the club really, like on the way, like pushing forward.
Is it a rewarding position or?
Nah, it's rewarding if you see the club going in the right direction, definitely. I don't want any rewards for doing it. I just want to help the club, It's my local football club at the end of the day. So I'll try and do anything to help it as best I can when I'm around.
Mm-hmm. So County was mentioned before. We should have been in that general geographical location yesterday, with it being the last game of the season. Unfortunately, the season ended last week, with us not having played since the Edinburgh University game a couple of months back. Do you think that's a right call? I'll start with you, Kev.
Well, I think we're on a great run. 10 games unbeaten. So I'm happy with that. But nah, it probably is the right thing now is calling an end to it. I think over the course of the season, I think Kelty deserve to be awarded the championship. I think they're a good side, and I'd probably say it's the right call, in my opinion.
What about yourself, Stu?
Yeah, I'm less sure. Not because, I know it's obviously a difficult decision, but ending this season before you know how next season can even start just doesn't ring right with me. We might still be in this position in November for all we know. And you might not even, it's as if they're tying up all the loose ends now so they can start afresh for next season. And I suppose that is why they're doing it. But if you don't know when next season's going to start, I'm not sure there's any real haste to finish this season. We could, if we're in the same position next January and just opening up then, you could have finished this season then. So I don't totally disagree with it, but I think they maybe could have waited a bit.
I think it's more for the club side, in terms of the clubs need to know where they are and what they need to do. I get that ending it abruptly. It's probably not what fans want, and fans want to see games and want to see a championship played out the proper way or to the final game. But I think for the clubs to be able to move forward or to live beyond this period, that they need a decision. They need to know where they were.
Yeah, I get that, Kevin. Contracts as well, player contracts complicated hugely as well. So like I said, very difficult decision. At the end of the day, it's there's bigger things to worry about at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah.
And John, what were your input on that?
I can understand like what Kev's saying from a point of view for the club going forward. The decision kind of needed to be made. Maybe not the decision that everyone wanted or expected, but like you say, for going forward, like as in for contracts, players' contracts and stuff like that, like there's got to be a point where they draw the line in the sand and make that decision, and that's the one they've came to. Like, but I would have said personally they could have maybe held off a little bit longer to see what's going to happen. But I mean, you didn't know how long this pandemic's going to go on for, so maybe tying up the loose ends and getting it so that clubs can go forward for next season, starting afresh, maybe the best thing for all clubs.
I think when they put the initial lockdown, it was taking it into June anyway, wasn't it? The 12-week period that they initially stated.
And that's not even so they can play, is it? It's just so you can get back training. That's not even so that games can go ahead. That's just so you can get back training, wasn't it?
Aye. And like you're saying about the contracts, I'm sure the contract expiry date's the 15th of June. So
you're in a catch-22 there, aren't you?
So if you're allowed to train in the 1st of June, but you can't play games till the middle of August, then it becomes pointless. Contracts expire 2 weeks after you're allowed to train.
Mm-hmm.
The alternative, what they were looking at, was to null and void the seasons completely. How do you think that would have gone down, Kevin?
I can see arguments both ways. It being fair probably doesn't really affect our level, but higher up in the game, when there's prize money for certain league positions and stuff like that, then it would affect it. But you didn't really want to waste 2/3 of a season and be null and void, in my opinion. In the same argument, you didn't do a 100-metre sprint and stop at 70 metres and give somebody a gold medal.
Yeah, no.
That's right. I would have curtailed next season and finished this one if we could, because I think it renders much of this season null and void anyway. If I was a Bonnyrigg fan, I wouldn't be happy.
I think
Game in hand and got to play them again, you could well have been top of the league, and you've lost that opportunity. They've lost that opportunity. So none of it is satisfactory. I get that.
Thinking from a player's perspective, if the season had restarted and you've had a 12-week, 15-week layoff from the season, how do you motivate yourself to pick up where you left off? For example, I understand Kelty and Bonnyrigg players could be motivated, but could our players, for example, with nothing to play for, and you're turning up just to be a number effectively after 12, 15 weeks, you might find boys didn't even turn up at all. So you then probably have problems of finishing seasons or having teams to finish seasons. It's just all ifs and buts.
Yeah.
So we are meeting tomorrow or Monday afternoon, this has been recorded on Sunday, to discuss the league reconstruction. How do I think that's going to look? Stu, I'll start with you.
Right, well, I'm going to clear how it's going to look, but the way I see it again from a fan's point of view, there's got to be at least 8, maybe 10 teams now outside of the SPFL who would be viable within the SPFL. Really, you've got 3 or 4 in our division at least. You've got Bournemouth, you've got the juniors over from the west, obviously the Highland clubs as well. And to me, they're all in better shape or potentially better shape than some of the old clubs that in the SPFL. So I'd like to see another division in the SPFL personally. Or definitely needs to have proper feed into promotion, automatic promotion. And, maybe we'd end up something like the English Conference, which is probably got a bit more kudos than the current Lowland and Highland League setups.
Would he still regionalise them?
I think you'd have to, because there's a lot of clubs that's doing well, got some money behind them, but there's an awful lot that's struggling as well. And if they're going to make up the league, they don't want to be travelling up to Elgin, do they? So, or even to Ayr or Stranraer or somewhere like that. So I think I see 3 divisions: a Lowland West, a Lowland East, and a Highland League. But how you then put the champions into the SPFL, I'm not so sure.
I think with the different regions here that you're talking about, when you have that situation, you're almost needing a playoff scenario to get into the league or whatever. My opinion would be we'd do away with the playoffs and have 3 up and 3 down or whatever it might be for each region, because I think that's what's caused the confusion or hampered the decision making, is all these different playoffs and permutations that could happen. They couldn't make a decision outright because of that.
Yeah, 3 up is a lot if you've only got 10 in the SPFL too. That's but I agree. I don't see why they shouldn't go up. If you've got 3 divisions below that, all decent teams, I don't see why they shouldn't go up.
Like you say though, if you made each division up, instead of it being 10, each division had 16 teams or 14 teams throughout the board, then it's achievable.
I agree, that needs expanding higher up, yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, John?
I would agree. I think it could be done with being revamped, like the Division 2, make it more teams, and like Kev's saying, possibly 3 up, 3 down. Make it a better league, I think, personally. And like you're saying, with the teams that you've got, the Highland teams and that, and teams in the Lowland League like Kelty and that, they're well equipped to go up into League 2. Just look at Cove, That just goes to show you.
Yeah. Same with Edinburgh City. Edinburgh City have been
Edinburgh City's another one.
Competing, haven't they? There's a bit of discomfort due to the Brecon chairman being heavily involved with the decision making. What do you think about that, Stu?
It's absolutely bloody scandalous, man. He should have been off the committee. You can't vote for yourself to stay up. It's a bloody scandal. Goodness sake. Tell him to go to the pub while I make the decision.
We've got similar in the Premier League with Anne Budge leading or being co-chair of this reconstruction, despite her club probably being one of the biggest impacted by it. What do you think about that, John?
I think Brecken's dodged a bullet like big time.
Even the Stenhousemuir chairman that's coming out and trying to change the goalposts in terms of the no relegation for the next couple of years for League Two, and so all the hard work that the Lowland League teams at the top end of the table is just
trying to put a block on it, really.
Everyone's just looking after themselves naturally, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they could have done it differently with Brecon coming down. So if they were to go into a playoff, would they just start the season before everyone else, and then go into the playoffs against the leaders of the Lowland League and the leaders of the Highland League? And then that being said, they're not going to have the same players, or they're not going to be able to attract the players because they don't know what division they're going to be playing in the following season.
Yeah, difficult. But it makes it a footballing thing then, doesn't it, rather than a committee? Preferable that way for me.
So back to Berwick. What's been your standout moments for this season, Stu?
God, wasn't very good, was it, to be fair? But it was better than the season before, and that's what was standing out for me. You were watching young lads, a team slowly melding together and getting better, as opposed to the absolute shit fest from the year before. There's a saying, isn't it? If you're in London, you're never more than 10 yards from a rat. And last season, our team was never more than 10 minutes away from a monumental cock-up. Every game we went to, there was just some awful balls up to give goals away. This season, it's been much better, even though we've conceded plenty of goals, I suppose, but it's been honest endeavour, and you can see how we've tried to make things slowly improve. So it's been enjoyable from that point of view. And Louis Barr.
He's full of running, isn't he?
Oh, he never stops. He's incredible. And Dan Pear's similar as well, actually. Just does it further up the pitch.
It's amazing to see how much he's improved over the course of the season, Dan Pear's in particular. And he's one that signed up for next year too. Oh, expecting to see that development, Kevin?
Hope so. Daniel's quite a clever boy, and I think he wants to learn. He seems to take everything in that the gaffer or Daz or myself or whoever's telling him. He seems to take it in and process it. He's either got a good poker face or he genuinely is trying to learn. But as I said last week, he's one of the players now that excites people. When Dan gets the ball, and you think if he opens his legs and he's going to have a go at somebody, and for being so small, he's wiry and he's brave, and I just think he's only going to get better. I think
he's scored 3 or 4 headers this season as well, hasn't he?
I don't think he scored with his feet. I'm not sure if he scored with his feet. And at what 5'6", 5'7", he's doing all right.
They've been teaching him a thing or two about leaping.
Nah, leave that to Yano. He's about the same height.
John, what's been the standout moments for you this season?
Oh, I don't know. Gretna was a good day, to be fair. I enjoyed the away day out at Gretna. It's probably one of the standout moments. I know we never won the game over there, but it was an enjoyable away day. Going back onto last season as well, I think the Peterhead win midweek kind of gave us that false hope that we was maybe going to stay up, but that kind of killed me a bit, because I think Harvey, if we hadn't won that game, I think Harvey would have been at the door by then. But
the Peterhead game for me was the worst result of the season.
It kind of gave us that false hope.
Absolutely. He might have gone if we'd lost that, and he didn't, and we lost the next 9.
It was an incredible poor run of games up until that Peterhead game.
The writing on the wall for me wasn't the fact that we were just getting beat. We were getting hammered. Albion Rovers were losing by the odd goal. I think they lost 4 in a row, 1-0. We never got beat 1-0. We got murdered. Eventually it caught up with us. Just want to add another standout for me just so the powers that be know about these things. Last season, where there was quite a lot of controversy about charging 10 quid to get in, down from 12 in SPFL. Well, it went up for me because they raised the concession from age 60 to 65. So I paid 3 quid more last year per bloody game. Everybody else is whinging about only paying 2 quid less. You want that on record, mate?
Noted, I'll pass it on. Has there been any standout player for you, John?
For me, Louis Barr, definitely. I would say he's one of Berwick's best players. Like, I would like to think they can keep him, like, but obviously Kev was saying last week he's opening offers and he's listening, speaking to the club. I don't know if Berwick can try and persuade him to sign on again. I would like to think so, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, obviously we're trying our best. Lewis is somebody that we want to keep, as we said last week. So I think we'll have an answer, whether it be positive or negative, fairly soon. Because I'm sure that Lewis will be wanting to get his kind of future sorted as well.
Aye.
I think what people don't quite realise is Lewis has played the season with a broken hip,
right?
And that stand, he's got a fracture in his hip, and he's played the season at that running power that he has. It doesn't seem to have hampered him. So for everybody to be saying, and there's 2 years here and one last week saying, Lewis Barr this, Lewis Barr that, he's the best player. The lad is playing with an injury every single week. So it's testament to him that he can still go and put that effort in while injured.
Aye.
It's incredible. I hope he sounds. Can I take this opportunity to ask about a couple of other players?
Of course.
Yeah. Well, you talked in the podcast last week about the spine of the team, with Ewan Smith re-signing, Callum Smith up front, and Kevin Worth at the back. To me, he's a great player. I'm glad he's re-signed, but he's not the big centre half, the big dominant centre half that I think forms a part of the spine of a team. He's not the guy who's going to win all your headers and get it clear. And it struck me last season when we had Ricky Miller, and then we had young Haynes at the end, and we had a bit of dominance in. We played so much better. We so desperately, for me, need an experienced centre half to play alongside Kevin. I just wonder if you agreed and if there's anyone on the radar.
No, I agree. I think going back to last week's conversation about that spine, and you do need the experience right through the spine. Kevin's a leader. Kevin's an organiser. Kevin's a talker. Kevin will ball somebody out if they need balled out. So Kevin's big in that position because of these attributes. Although physically he's not, the biggest, but he brings so much more than just physical attributes. But I think a bit of experience is not going to hamper anything.
I agree. Him alongside an experienced centre half would be fabulous, really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want him alongside a youngster, really. That's all I'm saying.
But towards the end there, are you classing Jack Cook as experienced, or is Jack Cook young?
He's been around a while for Berwick now, to be fair, yeah. But again, I think he's not the big. I'm talking about people going back, people like Brian Marshall years ago, and Mark Cowan and people like that. Somebody who's, if the ball comes in, he's going to get up and get it away with his head. We just haven't had that for a long time, really.
See, I agree with what you're saying there, but I think the game's changed a wee bit because a lot of games now is getting played on AstroTurf. And we've not got the need for that big ugly centre half that's going to hit the ball 90 yards, in my opinion. It's a lot more centre halves are technically good football players now. I
agree. I'm saying you need both, really. And Kev gives the footballing part of it, but I'm going back to Ricky Miller there. Ricky's attributes were long passes and winning the headers and getting it clear for me. And putting his foot on the ball, I agree.
I see. Ricky was technically superb for me. My opinion, Ricky was technically superb. He was a great passer of the ball.
Yeah.
great control. I think he was just fortunate that he had the physical attributes. Also,
you mentioned Jack Cook, and is he been offered contract?
Yes, he has. The last I heard was that nothing had been signed, so he has been offered something yet.
Coming back to Kevin Wolf, I don't think I appreciated how good he was until probably after the Gretna game, the Gretna away game.
When he got injured?
Yeah, and we missed him. I think we got beat 2-0 at home off East Kilbride. We conceded 2 then, conceded 4 against BSC Glasgow the following week, and then 5 against the Shire at home. And these were games that he was missing, I'm sure. And I think when he came back into the side, that we started to defend a bit better.
That goes back to his organisation skills and his leadership qualities, probably. When Kevin talks, people listen. He's got that about him. He's quite authoritative. He's had a go at me a couple of times. You know what I mean? He's got that in him that he's wanting something done, and he'll do what he needs to do to get it done.
How important is it retaining Ewan Smith, do you think, John?
He's a decent player, in the middle of the park. Good player. If that's part of Yano and Haynes' core of players that they want to keep and try and build around that, so be it. Hopefully get a few more into the squad, push on for next season.
I think Ewan's been really. I don't think we've seen the best of Ewan this season. Ewan's personal life was affected through the course of the season, which he missed a lot of football, and he's had, let's be honest, he's had more important things on his mind other than football. So I think once Ewan's settled and he's been in his second year at the club, and he's a really good football player, and again, he's another one that sets examples in training that the young boys should be learning from. So it's positive. He's a positive signing.
We're expecting much more this week.
Maybe. Obviously, we still can't do anything with players out with the club. I don't know how that will affect registering players for next season. I don't know if that's still going to be the same, time scale or same dates that we can register players and then get players announced. If it's still going to be June, I don't know. Might be earlier now because obviously the season's finished. But I think we'll have someone to announce this week.
In terms of online content this week, yesterday we streamed the extended highlights of the Rangers game from 2002, where we drew 0-0 in the Cup. Some players in that squad. Did you watch it, Stu?
I did, yeah, and I was there. Stopped in the youth hostel last night. It was postponed. Was it postponed twice that game? Yeah.
It was the once on the Saturday for the frozen pitch, and it was played the following Tuesday.
I know, we were capping ourselves because we thought we'd lose the Sky money, weren't we? And but we got it on in the end. Yeah, I was there. It was good. What I'd forgotten was that we were bottom of the league at that time. I didn't realise that. I don't remember that anyway. Another thing that struck me when I saw the team yesterday, we had 2 of my favourite players of all time was on the bench, Grant McNichol and Martin Neal. That surprised me as well, but it was a good performance. We looked good.
What was Grant McNichol like to play with? Sorry, Kev.
Grant done the basics well. Grant was probably in that mould that you're talking about, Stuart, in terms of...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
He won his headers, he won his tackles, he had a wee bit of pace about him, he'd recovered well, and he done the basics very well, and he's obviously going to go in the history books as one of the captains that lifted that championship in 2007.
In that team that was playing yesterday, or the game that was streamed yesterday, was my favourite player. My favourite player was Gary Wood.
Yeah, centre half.
He was playing centre half yesterday. Yeah.
Aye.
With McNichol on the bench. I don't know. Maybe Grant was carrying an injury or something. Seemed odd to see Gary Wood at centre back, but I remember him playing centre back, and he was good because he was dominant. He was doing his headers. Playing alongside Alan Neil as well. I don't know if you remember when Alan Neil first started. He started as a left back, and he was bloody awful. People wanted him out the club. As soon as he went inside the centre half, he became a club legend. He was superb once he went centre half.
He was part of the back four when after they started going in 2001. I would have been 10. Yeah, he was part of the back four then.
Yeah.
Woodsy was so good in two positions, like you're saying, centre half. But see, playing with him up front, he's an absolute animal.
Absolutely.
Absolute animal. And he was another one that's fearless and half daft. That probably got confirmed last year when he's in police dog bit him. So just confirms how daft he is.
I remember as part of the promotion year, you played some of the games with a mask on as well, didn't he?
He broke it. He got his face rearranged at Hamilton in a cup game. I think he was playing centre half and the centre forward at Hamilton at the time. I think it was a Spanish guy. He had absolutely made a mess of Woodsy. Because if I remember right, it was in the first half, and I remember the paramedics being in the changing room at half time when we were trying to do our team talk and stuff. And then they come back in after the game, and the paramedics were still there. So I thought, this is serious, but it's he wasn't a good-looking boy anyway, so I don't think it hampered him much.
He probably still needs one.
It was great, man. You just used to jump and hang in the air. It seemed for like 10 seconds and then hit it.
Yeah, he got the elbows up so that he could hit anybody that was near him.
Yeah, Rangers had some players in their team yesterday, didn't they, in that match? Stu, Tarandri, Flo and Kanchelski, so I forgot he'd come on as sub.
All the lads he came on as sub as well.
They had the ball on the bench as well.
Yeah, incredible.
Michael Moles, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was playing. What do you remember about it, John?
Ball boy playing behind the goal with Ronald de Boer, me and Mark. Him and a few other subs came to warm up, and at the time I can always remember P used to be hungry and tight, wouldn't give with balls to play with behind the goal as ball boys normally, but we'd been Rangers that night. We had a few extra match balls that was behind both goals, like, and the ball coming and just having a game of passy with us, like.
Yeah, much crack with you?
Nah, not really, but just knocking the ball a bit back and forward, like they were all right, like, to be fair, when they came in behind the goal to warm up, like. We was more interested playing football with them than watching the actual game at the time, like. But I can admit, like, Willie McCulloch as well, top-notch goalkeeper for me, like.
Yeah.
I used to like him in goal, like, at Berwick. He was always good at the ball boys and that as well.
It was him and Ross Godfrey. Used to be able to kick the ball for miles.
Yeah.
Memories, man. Were you at the return game? Were you at the game at Ibrox?
No, I didn't get. I think that'll have been a night game as well, wasn't it? So,
yeah, midweek.
Yeah.
And Russo scored a free kick, didn't he? Got be 3-0.
3-0.
That was the end of that dream then.
Was it 0-0 the first game, was it?
First game was 0-0, yeah.
First game 0-0, and then got the replay to go back to Ibrox. Aye. Went up on the bus journey up there at Ibrox. We had the full corner. It was good, like. Good atmosphere and that from us boys.
Been great for the club at that time as well, getting a replay at Ibrox, yeah.
Aye, just a money spinner. Like, obviously, getting Rangers doing it at Sheffield and then going back up there as well.
Great. And then we have had the Rangers Supporters Trust, which made a £3,000 donation to the playing budget for next year, which is great. Stu, you're involved with the Supporters Trust. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, it's a bit of a stress as I'm involved with them because I live down here in Teesside. If I was up there, I'd go to all the meetings, but I'm not. I'm just a alien right in the fanzine. But yeah, good for them. I think they've always done slightly different bits of sponsorship. They used to sponsor the juniors, didn't they? Things like that. But without that team, the development team, they've put some money into the playing squad, and good for them. And I'm just interested in see what John's view is about, because he, as a supporters club rep, I don't think it's that true now. I hope it isn't true, but I always sense some friction between the supporters club and the supporters trust. But
I think there's always been that stigma over the years between the two of them.
Yeah,
I would like to think personally myself that there isn't between them now.
I don't think there is now.
I think it's a case of everyone just needs to pull in the same direction for the best for the club.
Totally agree. But if they can give 3,000 to the club, they trust that. That's all right by me. That's excellent. Yeah.
Any donation from either supporters trusting the club going towards the football clubs.
Why would there have been a friction between the two organisations before?
It's just personalities, probably. But I don't know for sure.
Just individuals within the groups.
Different people at different times.
I think,
and people being on the board at different times of the club and stuff like that.
Different agendas. Remember the supporters' trust was formed really as a defence for the club in case it went bust. That's a different thing to the supporters' club. It's a different entity, and it's really now just they're really two separate supporters' organisations, and they've both got shareholdings as well, quite big shareholdings. And I think because they started with different purposes, maybe they've ended up not necessarily singing from the same hymn sheet all the time, but
surely it's the same goal though, isn't it?
It's kind of, yeah. Well, it is a club supporters organisation, so from that point of view, it's the same. But the trust was there to buy up shares and be there if anything went tits up with the club. Really, it's slightly different to what you'd expect from a supporters club.
And that brings us to the end of this week's episode of the It BRFC podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you to our guests John Dryden and Stuart Bell, alongside our co-host Kevin Haynes. We'll be back later in the week with an interview with David Greenhill, so make sure you don't miss that. If you've enjoyed the episode today, please like and subscribe, and maybe leave us a little review. It'll be much appreciated. Stay safe everyone, and we'll see you soon.